that in terms of the FinTech and NBFC collaboration, what according to you are the areas where NBFC and FinTech should collaborate and unlock their immense potential? Because as I discussed earlier also, they both have their own potential, actually, own areas of work. But the only thing is that how they can collaborate. So as Pramod has also told it, we are not competing, we are complementing, actually.
Correct.
And then another is that how old NBFC, with the old thought, actually, traditional NBFC, I call it, and FinTech can join hands to achieve the government objective, to reach out the last mile of the country. Because government is behind the
Absolutely.
NBFC to reach at the unserved and underserved, actually. So that is another area which need to be discussed, because I think we are reading in the newspaper that a lot of guidelines will come from the RBI head for the FinTech. So FinTechs will also be governed later on, actually, like NBFC. Then where will be the scope for both of them to come together, actually? Over to you, and thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Ashish. Thank you for the introduction and very pertinent questions to the current scheme of things. So very briefly, as you rightly mentioned, this is my third FinTech company, last one being RupeeCircle. The idea with RupeeCircle also was to drive financial inclusion and to basically serve the underserved and unserved market. One of the things that we were missing at RupeeCircle was the fact that there was not enough customer engagement. So we were doing personal loans for people, but we realized that a lot of these people actually lacked basic financial education, financial discipline, and there was not enough engagement with the customer. So it was not a very holistic product that was that we were offering. So with FATAKPay, the idea is that we want to become the financial wellness partner of the low income segment. So the idea is that we want to be their go-to financial service provider and help them through their entire financial life cycle. And that is what we have set out to do as FATAKPay. And the major focus here is going through the employer mode. So we are focused on a B2B2C model. So the idea is that we approach the customer through his employer, and in return we are solving a lot of constraints for the employer themselves. A lot of these employers work hard in terms of managing their employees, in terms of retention, attrition, and also a lot of their working capital is blocked in managing early advance salaries, prepaid expenses. So on one side, we're helping the employer manage their employees and provide this FATAKPay as an employee benefit program. On the other side, we want to engage with the customer and we want to be his financial go-to partner. So having said that, our idea is that the penetration, the first product that we're offering is similar to a monthly revolving credit. So the idea is that credit cards as a product is a fantastic product because it helps you manage from one payday to the next. It helps you manage your cash flows and provides you with an interest-free 30 to 40-day credit. Again, only 4 to 5% of India's population have access to such products, and especially in the low-income segment, credit card is unheard of. It's an aspirational product. So what we've done with FATAKPay, our initial offering is a monthly revolving credit line, which works very similar to a credit card. And but at the end of the day, it is a credit that is extended to the customer, and he is able to utilize this credit on in various forms of payments. So UPI-based payments or bank transfers, etc. And end of the month, whatever is outstanding gets paid back to FATAKPay. So that is the product that we are working on. The idea here and the questions that we've asked, again, very pertinent. So the basic synergies between NBFCs and FinTechs, we identify, or at least we see, three major challenges which are in the traditional model. So one is basically distribution, or how do you acquire the customer? So this is the major challenge faced by traditional players. How do you viably, economically acquire these customers, and especially when these are low ticket size customers. So when the credit ticket size is very very low. So one of the areas and where FinTechs come in and help bridge this gap very very well is basically distribution to the last mile customer and providing access to the last mile customer, because they do it in a more efficient, scalable manner, and hence, the reach to the customer or the cost of acquisition reduces drastically. And even NBFCs and banks are able to access these customer sets riding on the backs of FinTech. So that is Now, one of the major challenges that fintech solve. Second is also the onboarding journey, right? So the customer obviously in the traditional manner, going with physical documents. A lot of these customers don't have these kind of documents available to them readily. It's a time-consuming process. So the entire onboarding journey and making that digital, making that very user-friendly, especially again for a low-educated, low-income customer who does not have the time, energy, wherewithals to basically complete that journey, has the hesitation to walk up to a branch, submit the documents, does not have the time or the know-how to do this. So that is the second piece which fintechs are helping bridge and solve very effectively for a lot of these players, and in hence partnering with NBFCs, helping bridge that gap. The third very important piece is the underwriting piece. Now, a lot of these customers again are thin file customers, new to credit, don't have significant credit history. And how do you then underwrite these customers? So how do you firstly collect data about these customers? Again, which is a verifiable data. It's not something that's just in the air. And again, how do you underwrite these customers based on thin data points? So here again is where fintechs and companies like FinTech comes in, where we do the entire underwriting or help the NBFC or the financial institution with the underwriting process of understanding the customer, using technology to understand the credit behavior of the customer and score the customer basis multiple parameters, which is not just the traditional banking parameters, but also a lot of transactional data, demographic data, social data, alternative data, and based on that be able to underwrite or provide a credit score for this customer. And finally, the major challenge is how do you also make this viable from a collection perspective? So how does collection be economically viable, especially for low ticket size loans? So again, here is where fintechs have stepped in and provided various mechanisms to collect on behalf of the various banks and NBFCs, so that the entire piece becomes easy. So that is where I think in all of these four places. So one is distribution, where fintechs are helping a lot in terms of reaching the last mile customer, in terms of onboarding the customers, so making the journey very digital, foolproof, and easy for the customer, which is instant. Instant is the need these days. If somebody is looking for a loan, he will not be able to wait for 2-3 days to get a disbursement. So getting this entire credit digitally is the second piece which a lot of fintechs are helping solve. Third is obviously the underwriting piece, as I mentioned, being able to underwrite these customers in an effective manner, especially when they are new to credit, underserved, unserved, without traditional credit history. And fourth is the collection bit. So I think these are the various form factors where fintechs are stepping in and helping helping banks and NBFCs to basically synergize with them and provide these and work together and in providing the credit to the last mile customer. And in doing so, as you mentioned, we are trying to achieve that goal of reaching the underserved and unserved and driving financial inclusion in India. So again, there's a large population which is yet unbanked and underbanked. And in reaching out to these customers, and there's still a lot of area and room for play. So I think that is where all of the entire ecosystem is helping reach that end customer and be able to provide access to credit to him, and not just access to credit, getting him financially included, and giving him access to all kinds of financial products. So it's not just credit product, but also savings products, insurance kind of products.